Good evening, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of Leadership Satsang. I am your leadership coach, Yukti Kapoor Mehndiratta. Thank you so much for giving me all your love and participation in these satsang sessions that we conduct every Tuesday from 8 to 8:30 Indian Standard Time. These are the sessions which are directed towards bringing in more insight in the space of leadership and spirituality. And as you know, today being the last Tuesday of the month, this is an open house session, which means I want to know you, connect with you, understand your challenges, the ones who are joining me live right now, and I will do my best to answer those questions, address those challenges, and help you to overcome the same. So I hope you're sitting ready with your questions, and I will try and take up as many as I can in the next half an hour. But as always, before we go ahead, let's bring ourselves into this moment completely. I want you to find a place where you can comfortably sit. See if you can relax your body, spine straight, shoulders relaxed, and gently close your eyes. We will chant Om together, and using the vibrations of this chant, we will bring ourselves into this present moment completely. So please prepare yourself to join me, and I would encourage you to chant loudly in your own space, as loud as you can, so that you can experience the vibrations yourself. All right, so let's get ready. Take a nice deep breath in and breathe out. Breathe in once again. And gently breathe out. If there's anything tight around your waist, loosen up. If you're wearing glasses, keep them aside. Scan your body very quickly to see if there is any tension or stress anywhere. Release it. Any physical discomfort anywhere, release that. And adjust yourself so that you can feel completely relaxed. With the next breath in, we will chant Om, which is a summation of 3 syllables. A, O, Ma. And as we exhale, we chant Om together. Let's begin. Om. 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 Allow yourself to feel these vibrations for a bit. And gently prepare yourself to come back. Rub your palms together. And gently place them on your eyes, your nose, and face, and the rest of your body. And slowly open your eyes and come back. How are you feeling? And where are you right now? Let's put that in the chat. Which part of the world are you connecting from? And how are you feeling in this moment? Do you feel like you're here completely, just as how I feel right now? How do you feel? Let's have some sharing in the chat. How in the moment are you in this moment? Because before we achieve anything in life, we need to learn how to live every moment of our life. And no matter how much you practice, it's not as if you'll be able to live every single moment with that level of presence. But the more you practice, the better it gets. If you're getting a few minutes to be in the moment today, with this practice over a period of time, that will be a few hours, maybe scattered over a day, but still totally worth it, isn't it? That is the power of this practice called mindfulness. So, as always, I would highly recommend that you bring in any practice that helps you to be in the present moment completely. And now that you're here with me, let me open the house for any questions that you may have. Wonderful. We already have the first one here from Rajesh. And he says, Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI, was removed. What are your views? Well, I think removed and taken back is the complete statement here. And I consider this to be an opportunity for us to practice critical thinking. And I have been following this piece for some time now, when the drama began till date. And there are various versions of the truth. And none of this might still be the real truth. So why I consider this to be an opportunity to practice critical thinking is because when you become a critical thinker, you're able to hold yourself back from making an opinion, creating an opinion, or having a view like that. So that's exactly what I'm practicing, Rajesh. I'm going to still sit and watch and see how the story unfolds further and see what Sam has to say about this entire episode, and also refer to multiple sources and not get driven to create my point of view basis just a few editorials. But whatever little that I have gathered so far, which again I'm saying is not my opinion, but it is something that I have collated as information from various sources. And it is a depiction of lack of governance, lack of grip on what's happening internally. There are issues raised on ethics, that were demonstrated by him. And it is also about the cloud that he carries and the influence that he has on few influential people, let me put it like that, which has given him his own standing. You see, it's very difficult for us to put our finger on exactly what happens when we view something from a distance, such as this, what we are experiencing from this piece. So I think let's hold this back, Rajesh, for some more time to see how it unfolds and how many other versions will crop up. And from there, we will see the truth peeping out. So I will park this for now and not create my view on it unless I have information from multiple sources. But it is a space to look out for. It is a case study in the making, and it will teach us a lot about leadership. I think we're just about a week or 10 days away from that point. Okay, we have the next question here from Indiran, and he says, how can we continue to motivate the team members when they are doing mistakes? How do we motivate people who make mistakes? Well, let's accept and remind ourselves of the fact that mistake is a way to learn. If we don't make mistakes, we will never be able to learn anything. Having said that, those mistakes can cost us a lot sometimes. Sometimes it can go to the extent of us being labeled as a poor leader or inefficient leader because our team is making mistakes. So what we need to see is if there is any pattern that is emerging from these mistakes in the room, right? Are these the same mistakes or similar mistakes happening again and again? Or are these different mistakes which are a function of lack of clarity of the overall process or lack of efficiency of the process itself, right? So what we need to do is to get into specifics and identify a pattern if it exists. Is there something emerging out of the kind of mistakes that people are making? So when it comes to team, always remember the skill will matrix. It really helps you to strategize your approach very quickly. Is it a skill issue that the mistakes are happening again and again? Or is it a will issue? If it is a skill issue, then you know that you need to provide more training, more guidance, more mentoring. If it is a will issue, then you need to go deeper into understanding the motivators for the team members. And as we've talked about before, I think in some previous sessions, I've mentioned that all of us have different motivators. Somebody is driven by money, someone else is driven by recognition, somebody wants appreciation, somebody wants challenges, and different things will be a motivation for different people. When we motivate a team, we make the mistake of considering one motivator for everyone. One size fits all. It must be money, or it must be appreciation, or it must be something that motivates you. Because as humans, our biggest limitation is our own perspective. We all carry a single perspective by default, our way of looking at the world. Whatever looks right to us, we assume safely that it must be right for everybody else. If I am someone who's driven by challenge, then why are other people not getting excited? If I love what I do, then why don't others love what they do? But that might not be their motivation as well. They might have a very different motivation altogether. So when you see that willingness is a challenge, it's not the skill. They're trained well, but they're just not willing to put their best foot forward. We need to identify what motivates them. And we need to then strategize our efforts in that direction. I hope I answered your question there, Indiran. Please do mention in the comments if that feels complete and if it gives you clarity to take your next step forward towards bringing the team together and bringing out more efficiency within the team. All right, I'll move to the next question from Kailash Gupta, and he asks, productivity is directly related to mental wellness of employees. How to balance both with your employees? Well, I think the answer is in your question, Kailash. I will read this again. Productivity is directly related to mental wellness of employees. How to balance both with your employees? So what I'm understanding from the question is how to balance both productivity and mental well-being. Is that the question? Give me a yes in the chat. Because if that is the question, then the answer is simple. They both will definitely go together and always go together. As you've said in the first statement you made, productivity is directly related to mental wellness. That's right. So when you want the productivity to be improved, we need to see what is the environment that we are giving to our teams. How healthy is the environment? How open and transparent is the environment? How many learning opportunities are people able to see, identify, and grab? Because the more you provide this kind of an environment, which is nurturing, the easier it gets for the team to become productive. So like you rightly said, productivity is a function of mental well-being, and mental well-being cannot be created through just workshops alone. It is the culture of the organization that ensures that mental well-being. And culture is a summation of the actions that we take and the behaviors with which we conduct ourselves. It always flows from top bottom, right? So it goes top down. It is people right at the helm of things like you, for example, the business owner, needs to ensure that your actions and behavior is able to exhibit the kind of values you want your team to exhibit, the kind of behavior that is acceptable or not acceptable in your organization. Once they see you walking the talk, they follow suit. They know what will help them to flourish and what will make them perish. Right? So this environment that we create as leaders ensures mental well-being for our teams. And when that is taken care of, productivity is not as big a challenge thereafter. Then it just boils down to some tools and techniques that can be learned about managing time in a better way. I hope I answered your question, Kailash. Do share your comments and would love to know if that helps you with some more clarity on how you want to approach elevating productivity for your team. But I'm really happy to see that you brought in mental wellness, and I know how important mental wellness is for you, Kailash, since I know you a little bit. You're working a lot in this direction, and I'm glad to see that it is not just an outward intervention for the rest of the world. You are also incorporating those learnings and practices within your company for your own team, and that's really, really good to see. And since we are talking about productivity, till such time you think of another question and put it out, though I have a few here already, I want to touch upon a very important aspect of productivity. You see, for a very long time, we have unconsciously understood being busy as being productive. When we look at senior people or wealthy people, or influential people, we see them creating this impression of being too busy. We hear them talk about having, the need to create another hour in the day. The 24 hours is not enough. भाई इतने टाइम में हम क्या कर सकते हैं? हर एक मिनट मैटर करता है, टाइम कितना कम है, काम कितना ज्यादा है. And then you think, oh my God, yeah, I mean, I don't have so much work. Maybe because I'm not that important. And when you become important, you become busier. And that is what we have believed for a very, very long time. That being busy is an indication of being important. If you're not too busy, you're probably not too important. And I want to challenge that thought process. I want to call it as a myth. In fact, I want to go as far as to say it is a counterproductive thought process. Because busy and productive are opposites to each other. If you are busy, you will not be productive. If you are productive, you won't be that busy. Think about it. Being productive means being focused on what you need to achieve and produce those results with that level of clarity. You also know what should you be focusing on and what should your team members be focusing on, which is the Pareto principle that reminds us that 20% of what we do adds 80% value. What is my 20% that I need to focus on, which is going to give me maximum value? Rest, everything else needs to be either delegated or discarded. Maybe it's not important anymore. Maybe it's not adding as much value. It is just keeping you busy. This whole practice of reflection is the only way for you to understand what is adding value to your life. What are the things that you are doing which people value, for which people are ready to give you money for your time, efforts, expertise? Trust me, a lot of us are in our own bubble about what we do and how much value we add. And that bubble can be bursted only with reflection. And I'd rather have you do it yourself than for someone else to come and do it for you one day. You know what I'm saying? That when you compare yourself to people and say, "Arey, mere paas bhi 24 ghante, iske paas bhi 24 ghante. How is this person earning 20 times more than I am? He must be doing something wrong." And that's how we console ourselves. Yeah, मैं सब ठीक काम करती हूँ ना, इसलिए मेरे पास जितना है ठीक है. If it is really coming from within and you bring in that sense of fulfillment in your way of conducting yourself in your life, kudos. But if that is just a consolation, you know it. And if that's the case, then I need you to open your eyes to reality. I need you to understand that whatever you're complaining about is in fact true. There are people who charge probably a lakh for an hour, and there are a few who are earning 10 bucks an hour or 100 bucks an hour, whatever that amount is. Right? There is a lot of disparity in terms of the value people get for their time. But it is also a function of how much they value their time. How clear are they about where to invest that time, which is divided equally among all. So what are you doing with your time is a question you need to ask yourself. If you intend to grow exponentially in your life, you need to move more towards productivity and less towards being busy. If you are so busy that by the end of the day, you don't know exactly what you've done, I want you to stop right there and pick up your planner and dissect it into pieces to see what are these tasks which are taking away all my time, all my waking hours, and why some of it cannot be delegated. Is it because people are not trained? Then I should invest time in arranging for those trainings. Or is it because I am too insecure Or is it because there is too much bureaucracy and my signature is needed in everything, and that is why no one else is able to take this off my plate? I need to release and relax the processes. You understand what I'm saying? So if you identify that 20%, which only you must do, is when you're able to add 80% more value. That is called being productive. So at any given time, as a senior management executive or a business owner, you should have 3 top priorities. 3 and only 3. And if you achieve these 3, you can call it a day and not feel guilty about being free at 4 o'clock. See, that's another thing. We want to just keep doing something or the other, whether it is adding value or not. I just need to look busy. We need to challenge and change that mindset. We need to be clear about knowing what needs to be done and then putting our efforts towards achieving it. And then if you're left with some time, that time needs to be rightly utilized for rejuvenation, for relaxation. There is no need to feel guilty about having some free time in a weekday. Because if you're able to manage that, you're probably doing something right and not so much wrong. As long as you have clarity and focus on your 20%. So that is the real understanding of productivity. Since you mentioned that, Kailash, you gave me an opportunity to elaborate on this a little bit. I really want you to feel concerned if you are more busy than productive and see what you want to do about it. Okay, this might be the last one for today's session. Does our surroundings shape the kind of leader we become? I've seen many leaders saying about how our surroundings make us a better leader, but I find it vague and do not have a justified answer. Can you please clarify, what if my surroundings are not that optimistic? What a lovely question. Such a practical question. All right, so let me put it this way. Our surroundings will have an impact on us, right? The surroundings that we see or that we are getting influenced by is the influence that we are allowing. So the circle of life has 2 important elements to it. One is a circle of influence, things that you can or cannot do. And then there is a bigger circle around, which is the circle of concern, which is about what other people do or don't do, right? So a circle of concern tells us what is the action that I can take to protect and maintain my peace, my happiness, my growth, right? And everything else which is beyond my control, beyond my influence, is a concern at best. So if people around are toxic and negative, I'm concerned about it. But if I've learned how to protect my circle of influence, I will know how not to get affected by it. I will know how to find ways to drive myself, given that I have a clear why of being in that environment at the first place. Listen to this bit, it's really important. If you are in a very toxic environment and you're not clear about why you are in this environment, even though you can protect your space, you can protect your peace, you can bring in intrinsic motivation to keep going, you might want to ask yourself, what am I proving here? Because the effort that we put in protecting our core is not put with the intention to prove ourselves to anybody. Are you understanding, right? So I'm not tolerating the toxicity of the environment to prove something to someone. I am dealing with it if I have a good reason to deal with it. Maybe the reason is that this is my family and I'm committed to my family. And I'm hoping that I will be the change I want to see. Or maybe because this is a job that I have committed to be a part of and do the best that I can because it brings food to my table. And right now I don't see any other opportunity. And I have done everything I could to bring some change in this environment, but it seems like I can't do much. Can I focus on what I do and how I lead? Because the way I lead will have a direct influence on at least 3 or 4 or 15 other people who report into me. And somewhere it creates a ripple effect, which might be a slow and gradual process, but it will surely happen. What will it take? It will take a very strong why from your end as a leader to create that change in this environment. Another option is always an option to exit, move on into a new environment, a different environment, right? And let the toxicity behind, leave it behind. So it's a very personal question you need to ask yourself. It's not important at all times to fight the toxic environment and prove something. At the same time, it's also not the best approach to leave the environment every time you see some negativity around. You just hop on to another environment, hoping that this will be more conducive and better and something that you deserve. So what is the bottom line? The bottom line is that you not only get affected by the environment, you also create it. You're also a creator of what you are experiencing. Even if you are silently tolerating something which you consider as toxic, is adding to that environment in a negative manner. So you cannot shrug off your contribution to this environment that you are blaming and complaining about. I'm going to say it the way it is because I know that leaders who join me live here have the appetite to take some direct communication. And as much as I love you all as your coach, I'm going to offer you tough love when you need it, when it will help you. And here is some tough love coming your way. So please allow me to say this. Toxic environment is not an external foreign element that just falls on your lap. It is an environment that gets created by my contribution, your contribution, and everybody else who's part of the system. So what do I do? What can I do? What is within my circle of influence? If you look closely, you will find many things which are within your circle of influence. But not looking closely is because you lack the willingness to do so. It's much easier for us to blame people for when things are not okay. It takes a lot of effort for us to look within and say, sure, they look not so okay, but what can I do to make it a little better? Can I not be a part of creating this environment? Can I not tolerate what is not right? Can I question the systems? Can I challenge the perspectives? Can I create more influence by becoming more likable, by gaining authority on my subject so that I get more people to listen to what I have to say? Creating an influence within an environment is not always subject to your seniority in terms of your designation. It is a lot to do with the person you are. How much are you liked by others? How much do they want to be with you? And your positivity, if you are the reservoir of that optimism you're looking for outside of you, let that reservoir be the pull factor that brings people to you, that makes them feel more comfortable talking to you and being with you. And trust me, it is almost like a strong magnet in the middle of a magnetic field which just attracts all the little particles spread all over. So how about becoming that strong magnet? Because there is no way for us to find out how better or worse will any other environment be. When we become a part of the environment with a very clear why, clear purpose of being there, then it's also our responsibility to clean the air, to make space for more, to spread the optimism and positivity that we are seeking from outside of us. I hope I've been able to give you some sense of direction here. It's not a straightforward 1, 2, 3 process, but we really need to see it from multiple perspectives and then decide whether it is worth the effort of becoming that strong magnet that pulls people towards your positivity and your approach, or do you think that this is a lost cause and you'd be better off to step out? Having said that, like the moral of the story is the responsibility we as leaders take to do everything we possibly can in the best way we can in this moment. Will you be able to do any better tomorrow? Absolutely, yes. You will learn more as you become wiser, as you gain more experience. But the question you must ask yourself is, have I left a stone unturned to do whatever I can do today? If there is still something I can do, then that becomes my responsibility to do it. Right. So with that, I want to thank all of you to join me live today. It means a lot. Trust me, these Tuesday sessions have become like a highlight for me in the week, and I really, really look forward to them. Thank you for joining me live every single week. I once again want to invite you to my community. I've been talking about it since past few weeks because it is becoming stronger and creating a very, very deep impact on the members that we have in terms of their ability to gain insight and depth in the space of leadership. So we have a very focused learning process and system that is offered to Mindful Masterminds, the community that I nurtured on WhatsApp. We've shared the link in this event description. I would invite you to explore this opportunity and become a mindful mastermind so that learning becomes a habit for you. On that note, thank you so much once again for joining me live. Please take good care of yourself. I will see you next week, sharp at 8 o'clock, with another insight in the space of leadership and spirituality. God bless you all.